A district judge blocked President Trump's executive order on election integrity, trying to require voter ID. So we're going to look a little bit at that case right now. At this point, I would like to see President Trump issue an executive order just outlawing murder. I would just like to see if people on the left would fight it and file lawsuits to try to stop the executive order that says, okay, hereby you cannot murder someone. I mean, yeah, it's the law, but I think they'd fight it. I just would like, just for fun, I wish he would do it, to just see if there were lawsuits filed. Anyway, just an idea. We're just going to walk through the article on Fox News. So this is from that article. A federal judge in Washington, D.C., well, of course, where else would they be from? On Thursday, blocked a portion of President Donald Trump's executive order on election integrity, specifically provisions relating to providing documentary proof of citizenship before being allowed to register to vote. The Democrats are arguing that proof of citizenship would disenfranchise millions of voters, and I think that translates into, we have millions of voters we can't verify, and we would really like to keep it that way. We only should ask for someone's ID if they want to buy Sudafed. Judge Colleen Codlys, can you believe how many Ks that was? It's like you're saying Karen without saying Karen, really. Judge Colleen Codlys, but not Karen, of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia handed down the order in response to lawsuits filed by 3 separate groups of plaintiffs over 5 different provisions in a March 25th Trump executive order relating to election integrity. While Codlys dismissed requests to block 3 of the provisions, requests to block 2 other provisions pertaining to a proof of citizenship requirement for voters were granted. Are you not amazed at how many lawsuits the Democrats can file to fight President Trump on all these orders? I mean, they are suing like they're getting some sort of bulk discount at Walmart. They're not filing lawsuits, they're carpet bombing them. Seriously. But I think they have all that NGO money, so I gotta do something with it, right? Looking at what provisions were blocked with the preliminary injunction, the first blocked provision sought to compel the Election Assistance Commission to amend standardized national voter registration forms to require documentary proof of citizenship. The second sought to require federal agencies offering voter registration to people on public assistance to assess the individual's citizenship status before doing so. So the federal laws are kind of confusing on this because we clearly have federal laws that say you have to be a citizen to vote in federal elections, but we don't require any kind of voter ID to prove people are citizens, which seems kind of insane, right? Only citizens can vote, but you can't ask them to prove it. That's like saying, okay, you have to be 21 to get into a bar, but you can't ask someone to prove they're 21. Okay, what happens when a 12-year-old tries to get into the bar, right? He's got like his baseball mitt and glove, and he just wants to get in because he really wants a shot of Jaeger, but you can tell he's 12, right? You can't ask him though, can you? You're like looking at him going, I know you're 12, but the law is that you can't ask him to prove it. All he has to do is say, no, I'm 37. I'm not at all 12. Here's some of the language from the order, from the Codlys order, the judge's name. I only did 2 hard Ks on that one. That should have been 3, but I knew you couldn't take it. So here's some of the language. Codlys, part of her order says, our Constitution entrusts Congress and the states, not the President, with the authority to regulate federal elections. Consistent with that allocation of power, Congress is currently debating legislation that would affect many of the changes the President purports to order. No statutory delegation of authority to the executive branch permits the President to short-circuit Congress's deliberative process by executive order. Okay, now I will give Codlys a little bit of credit on this because what she said is correct as far as administering elections is given to Congress and the states. But I am going to have a big but in here. But we already have laws on the books from Congress that it is a crime if a non-citizen votes in federal elections. And it's also the president's job to help enforce the laws. So right now it's like, I would argue, well, Congress has already said you have to be a citizen to vote. So what the president is trying to require is just, yeah, we meant that. We weren't faking it. You really do have to prove that you're a citizen to vote, right? Right. So basically, I feel like this judge could have said this executive order was valid because it is within the scope of what Congress has already issued laws on, and the agency the agency that's supposed to administer this is under the executive branch, and it's an agency implementing those laws. The president is supposed to implement those laws. So just by asking for proof of citizenship, it is totally in harmony with what has already been granted and set forth by Congress. Did you like the use of the word set forth? Sorry if that was a little too much. So I think she could have, but she's from DC, and of course a lib judge, so she's going to go against what President Trump is trying to do. And I do have a couple, just so that I can mention these. Right now it's 18 USC section 611 that requires you to be, that's the criminal law that says you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote. And then we also have the National Voter Registration Act, which is a law that says only citizens could vote. So we clearly have laws on the books from Congress that already say you have to be a citizen to vote. So I think this judge easily could have said, well, that's all he's doing is helping enforce that. The judge also said that she would not block the other provisions that the group sought to challenge, which cover mail-in ballots and data collection on citizenship status, calling the challenges premature and indicating they would be best challenged at the state level. In other words, what she's saying is that I'm saving some of the judicial activism for some of my colleagues. I want to share that with them. They need some of the limelight too. And you've also got, 19 or 20 Democrat AGs out there or more? They want some glory. I mean, they want to be on MSNBC or The View. Come on, don't hog it all. Earlier this month, the Republican-led House of Representatives passed a bill requiring proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. The measure still must pass the Senate, however, before the president can sign it into law. And look, we do not have the votes in the Senate, so it is not going to pass in the Senate. I wish, but it's not. So, the Senate Democrats will say, we want voter integrity, but they don't want any kind of checks on voter integrity. Now, these are the same Senate Democrats who said they wanted border security without any actual borders. Are you sensing a kind of pattern? I think I am. It's like claiming you support sobriety, but suing to have all breathalyzers removed and illegal to use. Now, looking at the states, meanwhile, 25 states are considering some form of proof of citizenship legislation, according to the Voting Rights Lab, which is tracking such legislation. In total, 15 state constitutions have explicit prohibitions against non-citizen voting. So if there are 25 states that are considering that kind of legislation, the ACLU probably has about 25 different drafts of lawsuits ready to file, because apparently they have an endless supply of money to do this, but they probably have it ready to go. I bet you whenever any of these kind of pieces of legislation are mentioned, there are lawyers in California who probably have a tingling in their billable hour chakra. Because they're like, yeah, here it goes. Because some firms are just making a fortune off of all of this stuff. Not me. That's not really my thing. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for watching my headlines videos and my YouTube shorts. I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic weekend. Have a fun cheat day if you recognize those kinds of days. I have a cookie lined up that I'm going to be eating on my cheat day, so I am pretty excited. Okay, thanks for watching, you guys. See you later.